Yet another edition of Riding Home. Dean Legge and Ryan Curley bringing you the Georgia Bulldogs over on Dog Post. Ryan, thanks for joining us after practice. Just let's talk about the dogs. What'd you see?
Yeah, I liked the drills that they showed us today. They essentially showed us a 7-on-7 type of drill, and that's where most of my takeaways and the story that's already up on the site come from. And it's well, there was no question that Stetson was the starter, but to me, and I think this is similar to what your practice report is the other day, the top group of pass catchers is Brock Bowers, Lab McConkey, A.D. Mitchell, and Kyrus Jackson.
Yes, that's what it was.
That
That
was the same thing.
yes,
So it looks like those are their guys. Now they're going to
right.
cycle through. They're going to cycle through players. To me, Gilbert's the two. If you're ordering the tight ends, to me, Gilbert's the two.
That that's
Um,
that's what it
yeah,
looked like. That's what it was. If that's the two group,
yeah. So
which it
it was
certainly
if that's
was.
the two group,
Right.
and the guys in that group included Dominic Blaylock,
Mhm.
Arian Smith, Marcus Rosenby
Mm,
Jackson, Jackson
Arian,
Meeks worked his way in there
yeah,
today.
Arian Smith was with the threes the other day, but you know,
They did some rotating today. I thought Stetson was accurate. I thought that Stetson looked like he was having fun in practice. He
well,
looked confident and relaxed. I like to see that out of a quarterback, calmness, and that's what I thought I saw out of Stetson today. I thought Carson Beck had a lot of zip on his throws. He certainly had a lot of zip on his throws. One or two that were a little inaccurate, but other than that, I thought he looked good. I didn't really see that much of Brock Vandegrift. I thought Gunnar Stockton made a couple nice passes. I tell you what, I think the running backs are going to be heavily involved in the pass game. If what I
yes.
saw today was any indication, I mean they were used a lot in a couple different ways, just a couple different routes with them, and it was all of them. They were all catching passes. Of course, McIntosh is going to be their main guy for that, but I think they want them all involved in the passing game. This is going to be a dynamic offense. That is my number one takeaway from today, but it wasn't a secret before that.
But you're beating that drum.
Yeah, that's well, I've been on that for a few months now, right? I think that this is going to be a very dynamic offense. There's no shortage of weapons they have, and I think there's no shortage of ways that they can score with the guys that they have. I thought Stetson threw a really nice deep ball to A.D. Mitchell today. He got the better of Keely Ringo on a go route.
Interesting.
Um,
Y'all saw
so
non-individual. Oh, look at Kirby
yeah,
in the
so
Christmas in early
yeah,
August.
yeah.
How about that?
Hard to tell who the starting corner opposite of Keely is because they mixed in
Right,
Lassiter and Green. They
right.
mixed between the two of them.
And those guys
If
need
I
to
had to,
play.
if I guess, it's Lassiter. I think not only Green's a little bit more physically gifted, but Eric Gilbert in one play showed us just how athletic he is. I don't know if you read what I wrote,
Not
but
yet, but I don't need to,
uh,
I know. I mean, I saw him
out,
at Marietta. It
yeah,
was enough. I mean, he was as
out
good a
route.
player I've seen in high school.
Yeah, yeah. There was an out route. It was a good pass from Stetson. He picked up the pass, kind of tripped a little bit, put his hand on the ground immediately, gets right back up, juked somebody out. I didn't catch the number who he juked out, and then he stiff armed Javon Bullard, and they called the play. And I was
Well,
like, oof, he's gonna be a problem.
that's I want to make sure people are going to Dog Post. You know, because that is our day job. That's actually what we do all the time. I'm constantly checking over there to our members who are very inquisitive as well as intelligently asking questions. Make sure I'm going to put a link to the article below. I'm also going to have a link to the book and the magazine. I don't have any books right now because I told y'all I was running low, so I've ordered them. Make sure you're getting it now so that when you also want the magazine, you can have both at the same time. Red Zone is officially out of the book for the time being as well. But hopefully, I will have the books very quickly. The magazines are going to run out; they're not getting reprinted. So there are several things for you to do and consider. I would definitely go check out this report. It's lengthy, man.
I cranked it out, man.
I'm
I cranked
certain
it out.
there are no typos on here. No way, right? I mean, that's my favorite part
I
is picking
man,
apart the.
I really hope not. I did get it out fast. I caught one or two, and I went back and fixed. So if there's a typo in there, I missed it, and I
Hey, I
will
want
I
to
will
make.
get back to that.
Is this the shirt you were wearing? I can't remember where we are, so don't say anything. I
Okay.
now I do
Okay.
remember. Is this the business shirt that you had on the other day?
No, it was
Oh,
this exact shirt but blue.
okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah, apparently these are business clothes with my athletic shorts that I'm wearing with this.
All right, there you go.
So
Um, I just have a t-shirt that I wear around the house. Hey, so here you are saying after Stetson was done throwing the drill, Carson Beck subbed in for him was throwing to the first and second string guys. No hyphen, so there are some typos. Uh, live
hey,
proofreading,
as the editor and publisher, this is your
live
job.
proofreading, live proofreading. Stockton and Vandergriff through to the other players mainly. So I don't think Vandergriff is passing Carson Beck quite yet. Let's talk about that just for a second. I don't think he is. But why did you feel so important about that you actually italicized the
I italicized it for a
statement?
commenter on the article.
Oh,
But and also just on social media, I don't know if you know this, but I was on TikTok live last night. So I was
yeah,
live
but
for a TikTok
I
viewer.
missed it. I don't.
So
Can
if
you?
you probably because you're not because you're logged into the same account, you probably couldn't watch it.
I couldn't
So
watch it. I was so disappointed too because I really
well,
wanted to
so
watch it.
a lot of questions I got,
Uh-huh.
of course, are about the quarterbacks. I think children is probably our primary audience over there. Um, they
Well,
want to know about Brock Vandagriff. They want to know about Brock Vandagriff, and I just think he hasn't developed as fast as they had liked. That's not really
he's
a
only
knock
been
on him,
there a year and a
but yeah,
half.
yeah.
I mean,
That's the thing. Carson's a whole year ahead of him, and it shows.
yes,
And that's
yes.
just where they're at. That's just where they're at, and that's kind of all I have to really say about that. That's just what it is.
Well,
Um,
look,
but
if Stetson were to get hurt, it would be Carson Beck. That's what it looks like to me.
that's what I
And
think. Yep.
and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, this is gonna sound dismissive of anything happening this fall, but you know, the Brock Vandagriff saga, if you want to call it that, Brock
Saga.
Vandagriff needs to get ready for 2023. Now, that goes against what I would normally say. What I would normally say is, um, you got to be ready whenever, and I do think he has to. But I think he is the rawest of the four. I also think he can do some things that other guys can't do in terms of just the ability to really run fast, although Stetson can do that pretty well. Um, this is good. I mean, like, if you're a Georgia fan, which most of you are, I occasionally trigger other fans, Alabama fans, Gators, lately Oklahoma fans. Um,
I triggered some Bama fans yesterday, so
I mean, look, I don't
it
care.
happens.
I don't care. I
It's
mean, what I mean is, I'm not in here trying to bother people. But if you're a Georgia fan and you're watching, it's good that there is discussion about who is the backup quarterback and why. Because it is going to be a competition when Stetson Bennett is, living that Social Security life full time. Because right now he's just drawing Social Security, but at some point he will retire from Silver Britches and move on to playing something else in the different, in the Canadian Football League or the NFL or whatever. That will be Stetson's world, and Georgia will have to have a new quarterback. The question is, which person will it be? Right now, it's going to be Carson Beck. Right now, but let's see what happens. I mean, there's that is sort of to me not something that's overwhelmingly important. You pointed out in here, running back order was unclear. Man, that is always unclear with the running
yeah, because
backs, man.
it's different every practice.
You just
Yeah,
can't tell what's going on. Malaki Starks got the most coaching on the microphone while you were over there. You mean from Kirby?
from Kirby, yes, from
Yeah,
Kirby.
I watched the two guys that jumped out to me in that group were Malachi and Tyke Smith. I mean, I'd sort of forgotten about Tyke Smith. I just don't know
Yeah,
if they're going to play a lot because when you look at Dan Jackson, Christopher Smith, William Poole, they have guys who have played big moments in big games. They're not just going to
yeah,
take, they're not going to take these guys out so that someone else can come in. That was the pivotal moment of the national championship, Ryan. If they go
Yeah,
down and score and get a 2 point conversion, we're talking about an overtime. And Georgia in national championship overtimes, that didn't go so well the last time.
no, it didn't. Here's what I'll say about that. And Kirby mentioned this the other day. They relied a lot on linebackers last year, and they didn't play as many secondary guys as they wanted to. This year, he wants to be able to shell six out at a time. So I think there's going to be a long list of players to play. He said that
Six DBs,
60 Bs. He wants to be
they
able to
got
do
them.
that.
They got them.
So I
I
think
mean,
they got the guys, and
they
they've got
do.
the talent and the experience.
People can't see me pointing. I mean, you
As you
got
point at
Chris.
the mythical board, I read those
It's
comments.
over there. It's. See now. See this.
It's
You're
hard to
gonna
show.
force me
There
to
we
do it,
go.
man. Forcing me to do it. Look at that. There's the
This
not
is the
so
first time I've
mythical.
seen the board.
That's the board. So you've got Christopher Smith, William Poole, you've got Tyke Smith, Keely Ringo. These are all guys who have had let's just start with those four guys. Those four guys have all played meaningful snaps in college football games, and one of them was a All American. Another one is a preseason All American. They have those four guys, or they're start with those guys, and then you've got Bullard, Daniel. I mean, Matt loved David Daniel. Green, Lasser, Everett, who I think behind the scenes is someone to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Starks. There are guys. Don't think there's not
I love me some
guys.
Malaki Starks.
He's
I think
good.
he's going
Well,
to
but
play. I think he's.
part of
I
part
don't
of
think. Go ahead.
people say I
My
talk
bad.
over you all the time, Ryan. Speak up.
There's
Speak
a
your
delay,
mind.
guys. There's a
Speak
delay.
your mind.
I thought that he was just a phenomenal athlete when he was one of the guys that I watched more than once, and he's a little free. He's freaky. He's fast. He's strong. I think that he's someone that can really do damage in the secondary. Now he's not going to play as significant snaps just because he's a freshman as some of these other guys probably, but he's going to be on the field.
So one this is some inside baseball here. One problem that you want to avoid if you're someone like me or you, and I've learned this over time, is there is it's lack of a better term, confirmation bias. It's really going to see players bias. And I went to go see Chaz Chambliss, so I mean I went to see Zion Logue. Is it went to go see them bias, or is it that you saw them and you're like, oh, these guys are good. We got to see Malachi a lot. We got to see Brock Vandagriff a lot. But I don't think there is go to see them bias with Brock Vandagriff. I think it's calling it like we see it. I mean, I think he's very raw. I think he has the capability to do stuff that the other guys don't. But I also recognize he's still developing, man. I mean, he's raw. I don't know how raw Malachi is. I mean, I don't know. He might be, but I mean, they they've got guys in their secondary now. Inside linebackers, Tresman Marshall, and then Pop. You said he seems to be the guys, but there's multiple inside linebackers.
Well, I think Tresman might be the fastest of them,
He's fast,
and
and I have recency
he's
bias
very
with him.
fast.
We went to see him
Yeah.
play back in the day.
So, well, from what I saw at G Day, I thought he was the fastest out of all the inside linebackers.
Was he not
Um,
hurt, Tresman,
yeah, he
during
played
that?
at G Day, man. He had an
Did he?
interception.
Oh, he's hurt in the
Um,
season. That's right. Yep.
yeah,
Sorry.
he's been hurt. I think he's been hurt a lot of his
That's
time at
right.
Georgia. But this is just from kind of what I've seen. I think this might be the healthiest he's been since his freshman year when he was a redshirt. Um, but they're not a huge inside linebacker group, but they never really were the last few years. Nakobe's obviously not someone that was that big,
Right.
but outside linebackers, they Nolan
So I don't
Smith,
think.
Robert Beal,
Yeah.
and Chamberlain, they're going to be on the field a lot. And to me, it's those three and then Sherman right under them.
Well, they don't. They have Chad Chambliss is a very good pass rusher. He is not Adam Anderson, but I definitely think he can be Robert Beal. I mean,
Yeah.
I think he's a good pass rusher. He was a good pass rusher when I saw him as a freshman at Carrollton. So he is the real deal. They played him at inside linebacker at Carrollton, and when I saw him the second time, and that was not the same thing. But um, he's the real deal now. And I do think, though, talking about these guys who have not played a ton, it does well that we noticed. It does show that that this Oregon game is really the best case scenario for Georgia, particularly if they win, because if because there are guys that are going to get out there and have the ability to play. If you watch Oregon from a season ago, and that's kind of a tricky thing because it was a season ago, um, you know, they have explosive players. So there will be some issues there that Georgia needs to pay attention to, for sure. But just letting Starks get out there, or um, Tyke Smith play again, or Darnell. I mean, Darnell didn't play a full season, man. I mean, so
Yeah.
there's a lot that can be that will be gained by this game. Now, if you lose, it's not ideal. That means you got to win out, but that wouldn't be the end of the world. I just don't. I just doubt that they lose. But anyway, what other things as we get ready to kick it on to tomorrow?
Yeah, I guess defensive line, the same. I didn't really look at them last week when I saw practice. That was more you. So
Right,
I looked at them when I first walked in. That's the first place I went, and leaner for sure,
right.
definitely smaller. I think the freshman Michael Williams is going to be on the field a lot.
He looks
He
good. Yeah.
he looks like I mean, just looks wise, I've never seen him play in high school, but just from what I've read about him and YouTube clips and just looking at him in practice, looks like a future NFL guy to me. I mean, it just
He does,
from
but
body and his skill set.
right, right. But
Tyrion Ingram Dawkins seems like he's a key piece to this puzzle.
yeah, he's important because I wouldn't say you already have got, but I'll put those in quotations. I mean, you've already got Jalen Carter, you've already got Zion Logue. Those are two big important pieces to your puzzle. I'm not sure how much those guys will come off on third down. They might not. I mean, a season ago, you had the ability to have Devontae on the field 3 downs. Trayvon was on the field 3 downs. Jordan was not. There is no Jordan Davis on this team unless Barry Alexander becomes huge all of a sudden. So they can have guys that will play 3 downs in theory. Well, that just means you got to have a lot of defensive linemen who will play. Right now on this roster, now these numbers can be off slightly, but they have 14 defensive linemen of some sort on this team. That includes guys like Bill Norton, Bear Jones, or Bear Alexander. These guys have not played a ton. We're going to see what happens. Tramel Walthour, it's go time for sure. He needs to be. Um, everybody's going to have to do some of their part, and if they do, this is going to be a successful season for Georgia. But the one thing I'm going to watch for, they should be. They should. I don't know about dominate, but they should have their way with Oregon's offensive line. If they don't, then they're going to have to win in different ways. But when you started talking about Ingram Dawkins, man, listen, Ingram Dawkins, Logue, and Jalen Carter, those guys should be plenty good enough to do the job so that Nolan, Chaz Chambliss, Robert Beal, the inside guys. I mean, are we saying it's Marshall and Pop that are going to be the inside backers at this point?
I,
Or-
it looks like it.
right. We don't
And
totally
then
know.
Smile Munden would be the other guy.
Right. Right.
Because I think that Smile would be ahead of Jalen Walker, the freshman.
They got guys, I mean, everywhere.
They got their
So
guys.
it's not like they're hurting here, but he's right, Kirby. They got to play, man. I mean, I think if they could play even now, they would love to play a game, a practice game. Like if you could call Clemson or Tech and just be like, hey, let's just meet up and play 4 quarters. No, there's no scoreboard. Let's just scrimmage your guys against our guys. That would be so ideal for Georgia and those programs too. I mean, those two play one another. So I don't know. It is an exciting time, but it's all there, man. I mean, like we didn't talk about the offensive line today. We talked a little bit about the receivers. This is going to be, to me, it'll look more like Oregon did back in the day than Georgia did in 2017 because they've got a quarterback who really can get the ball out. They've got a big offensive line who can do what probably they want to do. and offensively they'll look like Oregon. But they're all the pieces are there, man. But they just, Georgia's question mark to me is the defensive front seven. Alabama's question is the offensive line. And Ohio State's question is the entire defense. And until we get through the first 2 weeks of the season, because that will involve, Texas, Notre Dame, Texas, Alabama, Georgia, Oregon. Clemson does not play a legitimate team. Ohio State, Notre Dame, and Alabama, Texas. We will know then what the perceived top five are kind of really like. Anyway, what final words?
I'm assuming we're gonna talk to Monken Thursday,
I
and
think so.
then Saturday, I'm interested to hear about the scrimmage. That's because that's going to be the first scrimmage, so
Right.
we'll see how much we actually know about it. But they have the players. It's the same thing as last year. I think they have the players capable of winning it all. It's just a matter of, are you going to do it again? That's where we're at. That's where we're at with this program.
Thanks for watching Ride Home. We'll see you on the website.